My phone's GPS shows I was at a kidnapping location last week. My phone was stolen 2 months ago and never recovered. Detective Carla Vinson showed me the GPS data on her laptop screen while I sat in the interrogation room at the precinct. The map showed a red dot at an abandoned warehouse on Industrial Boulevard with a timestamp from last Thursday at 11:47 p.m. That was the exact location and time when 7-year-old Emma Hartley was abducted from her bedroom. My phone's location data placed me there, but my phone had been stolen 2 months ago from my gym locker. I'd filed a police report, canceled the service, bought a replacement. The phone they were tracking shouldn't even be active anymore. Mr. Brennan, your phone pinged this cell tower repeatedly between 11:30 p.m. and midnight last Thursday, Detective Vinson said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were hard. We have GPS coordinates showing movement from the Hartley residence to this warehouse. Can you explain that? I stared at the screen, feeling my stomach drop. That's impossible. My phone was stolen in September. I reported it to you people. I have the case number. Detective Vinson pulled up another window on her laptop. Report filed September 18th at the downtown precinct. Officer Denise Kowalski took your statement. You claimed your phone was stolen from a locker at Peak Fitness Gym on Riverside Drive. She looked at me. The phone company shows this device was never deactivated. It's been actively used for the past 2 months. Calls, texts, data usage, all traced back to your account. My hands were shaking. I called the carrier the same day it was stolen. They said they'd shut it down. I got a new phone and a new number. This doesn't make sense. The second detective in the room, an older man named Frank Rossi, leaned forward. Mr. Brennan, a child is missing. Her parents are destroyed. We have evidence placing your phone at the scene. Now you're telling us someone else has been using it for 2 months? That's convenient. His skepticism was thick enough to choke on. It's the truth, I said. My voice came out defensive and desperate. Check with the phone company. Check with the gym. I reported this. Detective Vinson typed something on her laptop. We did check. The carrier has no record of you requesting deactivation. Your account shows continuous service. Bills have been paid every month through autopay from your bank account. The room spun. That was impossible. I'd called them. I remembered the hold music, the customer service rep telling me the phone would be deactivated within 24 hours. I remembered the relief of knowing whoever had my phone couldn't rack up charges or access my information. But if the bills had been paid through my account for 2 months, if the phone had never been shut down, then either I was losing my mind or someone had deliberately kept it active and used it to abduct a child. Detective Rossi pulled out photos and spread them across the table. Emma Hartley's school picture showed a little girl with brown curls and missing front teeth smiling at the camera. Then crime scene photos. Her bedroom window forced open from outside, muddy footprints on the carpet, the pink comforter pulled back where someone had grabbed her from her bed. She's 7 years old, Rossi said. Her parents put her to bed at 9 p.m. They checked on her at 10:30. By 11 she was gone. Your phone's GPS trail shows movement from their house at 11:42 directly to that warehouse. We found tire tracks. We found her hair ribbon. We found evidence someone was holding her there. He jabbed his finger at one of the photos. And we found this. It was a cigarette butt. DNA on that cigarette matches you. We pulled it from the database after your DUI arrest 3 years ago. The floor dropped out from under me. A DUI arrest I'd gotten after my divorce. One stupid night. One mistake that had followed me ever since. I don't smoke, I said weakly. I quit 5 years ago. Detective Vinson's expression didn't change. The DNA doesn't lie. Neither does the GPS data. You were there, Mr. Brennan. Your phone proves it. Your DNA proves it. We just need you to tell us where Emma is. If you cooperate now, if you help us find her alive, that will matter in court. But if you keep lying and something happens to that little girl, you'll face the death penalty. The death penalty. For a crime I didn't commit involving a child I'd never met. My mouth went dry. I want a lawyer. I'm not saying another word without a lawyer present. They put me in a holding cell while they processed paperwork. I sat on the metal bench with my head in my hands trying to understand how my life had detonated. 2 months ago, my phone was stolen. Now it had been used to track a kidnapping. My DNA was at the scene. The GPS data was irrefutable. Someone had framed me perfectly. But who and why? I thought about everyone I knew who might want to destroy me. My ex-wife Denise was bitter about the divorce, but she wasn't evil. My former business partner had sued me over a failed restaurant venture, but that was settled. I couldn't think of anyone with the resources and motivation to steal my phone, keep it active, plant my DNA at a crime scene, and kidnap a child just to frame me. The scale of conspiracy required seemed impossible, but the evidence was real. My lawyer arrived 3 hours later. Patricia Navarro was a public defender I'd been assigned, young and overworked, but sharp. She listened to my story without interrupting. When I finished, she set down her pen and looked at me seriously. This is bad, Daniel. The GPS evidence alone would be circumstantial, but combined with DNA, prosecutors will argue you planned this, used your own phone to commit the crime. The stolen phone story sounds like a convenient excuse. She flipped through papers in her folder. Your police report from September is on file. That's good. But the phone company has no record of deactivation requests. That's very bad. Someone either intercepted your call or the request was never processed. Either way, you're the account holder. You're responsible for what that phone was used for. Can we subpoena the phone company's call records? I asked. Prove I called them? Patricia nodded. Already working on it, but that takes time. The arraignment is tomorrow morning. They're charging you with kidnapping. The DA will argue you're a flight risk and a danger to the community. Bail will be denied. You'll be held until trial unless we can poke holes in their case fast. She leaned forward. Is there anyone who would want to frame you? Anyone with access to your DNA? Anyone with technical skills to spoof GPS data or keep your phone active? I thought hard. My gym. Dozens of people had access to my locker, but my DNA? That would require blood or saliva or hair. I don't know how someone would get that without me noticing. Patricia made notes. We'll investigate the gym angle. See if anyone there has a criminal record. See if there's security footage from September showing who was near your locker. She closed her folder. In the meantime, you need to prepare yourself. The media will destroy you. Child abduction cases generate hysteria. You'll be guilty in the public's mind before trial even starts. She wasn't wrong. By evening, my name and photo were all over the news. Local man arrested in Emma Hartley kidnapping. GPS evidence links suspect to crime scene. My face filled the screen. They used my DUI mugshot from 3 years ago where I looked drunk and disheveled. The perfect villain. My phone rang with blocked numbers. Reporters wanting statements. My mother called crying. My ex-wife called screaming that she'd always known I was unstable. My boss called to say I was terminated effective immediately. The arraignment was a nightmare. I stood in an orange jumpsuit while the prosecutor outlined the evidence. The phone's GPS trail. The DNA match. My criminal history, which now included the DUI and a bar fight from college they'd dug up. The judge denied bail. I was remanded to county jail pending trial. In my cell that night, I lay on the thin mattress staring at the ceiling trying to figure out who was doing this to me. The theft had seemed random at the time. I'd finished my workout, showered, returned to find my locker forced open, and my phone gone. Wallet still there. Keys still there. Just the phone. At the time, I thought it was some kid looking for something to pawn. Now I understood it had been targeted. Someone wanted my phone specifically. Someone who knew what they were going to do with it. Patricia visited 2 days later with news. The phone company provided records. You did call on September 18th at 3:47 p.m. requesting deactivation. The call lasted 11 minutes. But here's where it gets strange. The deactivation request was reversed 4 hours later by someone claiming to be you. They called from a different number, provided your account information, and said the phone had been found. They requested the service be restored. She slid a document across the table. The customer service notes say the caller passed all security questions. Account number, address, last 4 of social security, everything. My blood ran cold. That wasn't me. I never called to restore service. Patricia nodded grimly. I believe you, but whoever did this had all your personal information. They knew exactly what to say to reactivate your phone. How is that possible? I asked. She shrugged. Identity theft, data breach, someone with access to your personal information. The real question is why? Why go through all this trouble to frame you specifically? That was the question that haunted me. Emma Hartley's case was all over the news. Her parents made tearful pleas for her safe return. Police released security footage from a gas station, showing a figure in dark clothes buying zip ties and duct tape the night she was taken. The footage was grainy, but the timestamp matched my phone's location data. The figure's build was similar to mine. The prosecution would argue that was me, but I'd been home that night. I'd been binge-watching a show on Netflix. Alone. No alibi. No witnesses. Just me and my TV in my apartment while someone used my phone to commit a felony. Patricia dug into my life, looking for connections. She interviewed my ex-wife, my former business partner, my coworkers at the marketing firm where I'd worked before being fired. She pulled records from the gym, showing who had memberships when my phone was stolen. She found security footage from September 18th. The video showed me entering the gym, going to the locker room, working out for 90 minutes. Then it showed me returning to find my locker open, but the cameras didn't cover the actual locker area, privacy concerns, so whoever had stolen my phone had done it in a blind spot. Patricia froze the footage on the timestamp and started going through everyone else who entered the locker room during that 90-minute window. 37 men. She ran background checks on all of them. 29 came back clean. 8 had criminal records. Minor stuff mostly. Drug possession, petty theft, DUIs. Nothing suggesting kidnapping or elaborate frame jobs. One name stood out. Trevor Walsh. No record. Clean background. But his membership had started just 2 weeks before my phone was stolen and canceled the day after. Patricia showed me his photo from the gym's database. Mid-30s, average height, brown hair, forgettable face. I didn't recognize him. He paid cash for a monthly membership, Patricia said. Gave a fake address. The gym didn't verify because he had cash. He came in exactly 8 times. The last time was September 18th. After that, never again. She tapped the photo. This man targeted you. He joined your gym specifically to steal your phone. The question is why? We needed to find Trevor Walsh. But the name was probably fake. The address definitely was. The gym had a photocopy of a driver's license, but it looked doctored. We had a face and nothing else. Patricia hired a private investigator named Marcus Chen, who specialized in tracking people who didn't want to be found. He took Trevor's photo and started running it through facial recognition databases, social media, professional networks. 3 days later, he called with a hit. "That's not Trevor Walsh," Marcus said. "That's Dennis Kruger. He's a private investigator out of Chicago, specializes in corporate espionage and asset recovery." He sent over a file. Dennis Kruger had a legitimate business, clean record, but the services he offered included surveillance, information gathering, and what he called competitive intelligence. Reading between the lines, he helped companies and individuals dig up dirt on their enemies. Patricia and I stared at the file. "Someone hired him," I said. "Someone paid him to steal my phone and frame me." Marcus kept digging. He found Dennis Kruger's client list, which wasn't public but wasn't impossible to access if you knew where to look. Most of the names meant nothing. Corporate entities, law firms. Then one name jumped out. Hartley Consulting Group. Emma Hartley's father owned it. Patricia and I sat in the jail conference room staring at the connection. "Why would Emma's father hire someone to steal your phone 2 months before his daughter was kidnapped?" Patricia asked. "That makes no sense." Unless Emma's father was involved in his own daughter's kidnapping. Unless this was all an insurance scam or a custody dispute or something darker. But that still didn't explain why I'd been chosen as the fall guy. I had no connection to the Hartley family. I'd never heard of them before Emma's kidnapping made the news. Marcus dug deeper into my background looking for any link to the Hartleys. He found it in the most unexpected place. 10 years ago, I'd worked at a marketing firm that had Hartley Consulting as a client. I'd never worked on their account directly, but I'd been at the company. Robert Hartley had been there for a presentation. We'd been in the same building at the same time. That was it. That was the connection. Or was it? Marcus kept looking. He found something else. 5 years ago, Robert Hartley had been sued by a former employee named Jennifer Castillo for wrongful termination. She claimed Hartley had fired her after she refused his sexual advances. The case had been settled out of court. Jennifer Castillo had signed an NDA, but Marcus was good at finding people who'd signed NDAs and convincing them to talk anyway. He found Jennifer in Portland. She agreed to a phone call. "Robert Hartley is a monster," Jennifer said. Her voice shook with anger even 5 years later. "He assaulted me in his office. When I threatened to report him, he fired me and destroyed my reputation. I couldn't get work anywhere in the industry. He made sure of that." She paused. "But the worst part was what he did to his family. His wife knew what kind of man he was. Everyone knew. And his daughter Emma, even back then, when she was just a toddler, you could see how scared she was around him. I called child services twice. They investigated, found nothing. Or rather, Hartley paid them to find nothing. He has connections everywhere. Police, social services, politicians. That's how men like him operate." Patricia and I processed this. "You're saying Robert Hartley might have harmed his own daughter?" Jennifer's laugh was bitter. "I'm saying Robert Hartley is capable of anything, and if Emma disappeared, I wouldn't be surprised if he was behind it. That man doesn't see people as human beings. We're all just tools or obstacles." Marcus found something else. 2 months before my phone was stolen, Robert Hartley had taken out a $2 million life insurance policy on Emma. The payout included kidnapping coverage. Patricia stared at the document. "He planned this. He hired Dennis Kruger to steal your phone, kept it active, used it to track the kidnapping so you'd take the fall. Then he could collect insurance money and get rid of his daughter at the same time." The picture was forming, but it was monstrous. "We need to go to the police," I said. Patricia shook her head. "With what? Circumstantial evidence? A theory? You're already charged with kidnapping. If we go to the police now with accusations against the victim's father, they'll say you're trying to deflect blame. We need proof, hard evidence that Hartley orchestrated this." Marcus kept digging. He found Dennis Kruger living in a suburb outside Chicago. He knocked on Kruger's door with a recording device hidden in his jacket. Kruger answered, looking annoyed. Marcus posed as a potential client interested in Kruger's asset recovery services. He mentioned needing help with a sensitive situation involving planting evidence. Kruger was cautious, but interested. He quoted prices. He mentioned past jobs where he'd helped clients with complex situations. He didn't mention my name or Robert Hartley's, but he confirmed he did that kind of work. Marcus pushed harder. Mentioned the Hartley case specifically. Asked if Kruger had been involved. Kruger's face went cold. He shut the door. But Marcus had gotten enough on tape to establish that Kruger did plant evidence for hire. It wasn't a confession, but it was a thread. Patricia filed motions to subpoena Robert Hartley's financial records, phone records, and emails. The judge denied them. Insufficient cause. We were grasping at straws in the court's eyes. Meanwhile, my trial date was set for 3 months out. I sat in county jail watching my life burn down, while whoever had really taken Emma Hartley remained free. The investigation into Emma's disappearance had gone cold. Police had me in custody. They'd found the primary suspect. They'd stopped looking for other leads. Emma could be dead or alive, and nobody knew because they'd stopped. Searching. The injustice of it was suffocating. Then Marcus found something that changed everything. He'd been monitoring Dennis Kruger's movements. Kruger had flown to our city twice in the past week. Both times he'd gone to a storage facility on the industrial side of town. Marcus got the facility's records. Kruger had rented a unit under a fake name 6 months ago, paid in cash, still active. Patricia got a private warrant for the storage unit based on evidence of illegal activity. When Marcus and a hired security expert opened the unit, they found a nightmare. Surveillance equipment, photos of me taken over months, detailed files on my daily routine, my habits, places I went, a map of my apartment building with entry points marked, and most damning, a phone identical to mine with my SIM card cloned. The phone showed texts and calls made to Robert Hartley's private number, plans for Emma's kidnapping, instructions on timing, location, how to frame me. Everything documented in digital black and white. Marcus called the police immediately. Patricia called me. We have him. We have everything. Kruger kept records of the whole operation. He has Emma, or he knows where she is. Within hours, police raided Kruger's Chicago home. Found nothing. He was gone. But they tracked his phone to an address in our city, an apartment rented under another fake name. The tactical unit breached the apartment at dawn. Dennis Kruger was arrested without incident. Emma Hartley was found in a bedroom, alive, traumatized but physically unharmed. She'd been held for 8 days, given food and water but kept locked in a room with blacked-out windows. She didn't know where she was or why. Kruger had worn a mask the whole time. When police questioned him, Kruger refused to talk without a lawyer. But they had the storage unit evidence. They had the cloned phone. They had Emma's testimony that her kidnapper had mentioned someone paying him a lot of money. Police arrested Robert Hartley at his office. He denied everything, claimed he'd been framed just like I had, but financial records showed payments from his business accounts to shell companies Dennis Kruger controlled. $200,000 transferred over the past 6 months, timing that matched when Kruger had started building the frame around me. The evidence against Hartley was overwhelming. His own daughter, once she felt safe enough to talk, told police her father had been planning something. She'd overheard phone calls. He'd measured her window, asked strange questions about whether she'd scream if someone came in her room at night. She'd told her mother, but her mother hadn't believed her or had been too frightened of her husband to act. Catherine Hartley broke down under questioning, admitted she'd suspected something but had been too afraid to leave, too conditioned by years of abuse and control. She corroborated that Robert had taken out the insurance policy, had been obsessed with money lately, had been acting strangely around Emma. The prosecutor dropped all charges against me, released me from jail with apologies that felt hollow. Patricia held a press conference explaining I'd been framed. The media that had destroyed me now had to walk it back. Some outlets apologized. Most just moved on to the next story. Robert Hartley went to trial 6 months later. The evidence was ironclad. The phone records, the financial transfers, Dennis Kruger's cooperation once he realized he was going down alone. Emma's testimony about the conversations she'd overheard. Hartley's motive was as simple as it was evil. He'd been embezzling from his company for years. An audit was coming. He needed money to cover the theft and pay off investigators. $2 million in insurance money would have solved his problems. Framing me kept police focused elsewhere while he collected the payout and fled. His daughter was collateral damage, a tool to be used and discarded. He was convicted on all counts: kidnapping, conspiracy, insurance fraud, child endangerment. The judge gave him 30 years. Dennis Kruger got 15 for his role. Catherine Hartley got custody of Emma and moved across the country to start over. I rebuilt my life slowly. Got a new job at a different marketing firm. Went to therapy to process the trauma of being falsely accused and imprisoned. The DUI charge from years ago was expunged as part of a settlement with the city. My record was cleared, but the damage couldn't be fully undone. I'd lost 3 months of my life in jail, lost my job, lost my reputation. Friends who'd abandoned me during the accusations never came back. Some damage is permanent. 2 years after my release, I testified before the state legislature about problems with GPS evidence and how easily it could be manipulated, how law enforcement needed better protocols for verifying digital evidence, how being in the wrong database for the wrong reason could destroy an innocent person's life. They passed a bill, named it after Emma, required corroborating evidence beyond digital data for kidnapping charges, required independent verification of GPS location data. Small changes. But maybe they'd save someone else from what I went through. Patricia Navarro became a partner at her firm based on the high-profile case. She still called occasionally to check on me. Marcus Chen sent a Christmas card every year. They'd saved my life. I thought about the phone that had been stolen from my gym locker, the random theft that wasn't random at all, how Dennis Kruger had chosen me specifically because I was in a database from my DUI, because I had no connection to the Hartley family that would make the frame obvious, because I was ordinary enough to be believable. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong criminal record. That's all it took. I changed my gym, got a new phone with every security feature enabled, became hyper-aware of who had access to my personal information. Trust had become complicated, but I was free and alive, and Emma Hartley was safe with her mother far from the monster who'd pretended to be her father. Sometimes that's all you get. Sometimes that's enough. 3 years after everything happened, I got a letter forwarded through Patricia's office. It was from Catherine Hartley. She'd moved to Colorado with Emma and was managing a small bookstore. Emma was in therapy but doing well. She'd started 5th grade, had friends, was learning to feel safe again. Catherine wrote that she wanted to thank me for not giving up, for fighting to prove my innocence even when it seemed impossible, because my fight had exposed Robert's crimes and saved her daughter's life. She said Emma had asked about me, the man who'd been blamed for her kidnapping, but who'd actually helped catch the real criminals. I wrote back, kept it brief, said I was glad they were safe, that Emma was brave for testifying, that I hoped they found peace. I didn't mention my nightmares or my paranoia, or how I still checked my phone obsessively to make sure it hadn't been cloned. Some burdens you carry alone. The case closed, but the scars remained. I lived with the knowledge that justice was fragile, that innocent people could be destroyed by corrupt systems and careful planning, that a stolen phone could become a weapon in the right hands. But I also lived with the knowledge that truth could win eventually, that good lawyers and determined investigators could unravel even sophisticated conspiracies, that fighting back mattered even when it seemed hopeless. I never got my 3 months back, never fully repaired my reputation, but I was free, and Robert Hartley was in prison, and Emma was safe. In a world where none of those things had seemed possible, that felt like victory enough. If you enjoyed this, you'll definitely want to see the next ones too. So subscribe now, and let me know your take in the comments.